Hey everybody, thought I'd pull some prog, some spacier prog on the lighter side of things. So let's get started here. This is Descender from Terje Rypdal, 1980. He's a Norwegian guitarist that plays a very spacey, emotional, atmospheric guitar. All his albums are fantastic. Each album presents a little bit different mood. This is just one of the many favorites. Love all his output. This is on the ECM label. Next here is TONTO's Expanding Headband, Zero Time. The two guys that produced the music on here is Robert Margalef and Malcolm Cecil. This is from '71. There they are right there. Right there is Malcolm Cecil, and there's Robert Margalef, his partner. Malcolm Cecil there is the one that built TONTO, the giant custom-made, I think it's a 9-piece, 9-foot in diameter circular synthesizer that was used in the movie The Phantom of the Paradise from 1974 that starred Paul Williams. So if you want to see the synthesizer, check out the movie. It's got some beautiful artwork inside the cover there. This is a white label promo on the Embryo label. Now this was the first release, and you don't see it quite as much in the record bins. In '75, 4 years later, they reissued this album and changed the title and the artwork, and it appeared on the Atlantic label. Okay, this is a copy, but it's the non-promo, so you can see the actual colors in that beautiful label design there. Isn't that pretty? Got your circles around the edge with a star in the center and the yin-yang thing going there in those circles. I just love that label. And here is what the commonly seen in the record racks redesign label looks, record cover looks like. It's also very psychedelic. I really like it. Back in '73 was the first time I heard a song off this album. It was Jet Sex. It was kind of a low, throbbing song. It had a deep moog bass in it, and it was just something that I had never heard before. It just grabbed my attention. It was background in a radio commercial. In the summer of '73, they were doing some contest on this radio station, and they used that song in the background. And many years later, in '85, I was with a friend who had a friend, and we had gone over to his friend's house, and his friend had an older brother. His name was Victor, and he was a DJ at a radio station over in Ottawa, Kansas. He had a huge record collection, 10,000 records, and he happened to be home, and we went into his area where he had all these records. He had a big wall, all the records on this wall, 10,000 records, and this was '85, I think, September '85, and I asked him, I said, Vic, there's one song I have been trying to figure out who it was by for years and years. Maybe you can help me here. And I described the song to him, that it had kind of an orgasm climax build up with a heartbeat and, you know, faster and faster. And he said, ah, and he walked over to that wall, walked right over that huge wall, pulled out one single record, casually walked over, laid it down on the turntable, queued it up. He said, is this it? Yeah, that was it. Mystery solved. So, this one is EQ Zach, Premonition of Reality from 1988. This was a limited press of, I think, 500. Got this back in 90. I was looking for something with that spacey, Tangerine Dream type of sound. And the guy recommended this one, and I really liked it. Really like it. Very spacey prog. Private press. Next is a French synthesist, goes by the name Zanov. This is In Course of Time from '83. I think this was his third album. I really like his sound. Very, very spacey sounds he pulls out of his array of synthesizers. Of course, everybody's seen this one. Classic, spacey, cosmic krautrock. Dark electronics, Cluster 2, 1972. Hans Joachim Rodelius and Dieter Mobius. Yeah, this is a classic. Check it out. Next is Emerald Webb, Dragon Wings and Wizard Tales, a duo from California. They play a progressive space rock that has kind of a mythological, mystical, atmospheric sound to it, with guitars, synthesizers, drums, and flute. Very, very beautiful. This is from '79. They only put out this vinyl, and then all the stuff thereafter was on cassette or CD, and then I think in the late 80s they went back to vinyl format again, about maybe 87, 88 with Lights of the Ivory Plain. But this has their very best sound. They had Aqua Regia and Nocturne from the early 80s right after this, and then Cat's Paw. They were also favorites of mine. Here's another great one. Wonderful guitarist. Very, I mean, a virtuoso. On this album, he does a lot of echo and reverb, puts his guitar through a lot of processes, giving it a synthesized sound. You'd swear there's synthesizer in this album. This is from '74, released in '75. Manuel Göttsching, who formed Asherah Temple. Great spacey stuff. It's on the Cosmic Music label. Recorded in quadraphonic sound. This is an original press. Yeah, he was in a transition period where some of the original members had left, so he was just kind of a one-man outfit at this juncture, and he just went by the name Asherah Temple 6. And then after this album, they changed, or he changed the name to just Asherah and produced some incredible spacey stuff thereafter. But their whole catalog is just trippy. Psych, space, trippy. If you're into that type of stuff, check it out. Yeah, you'll really like it. This is one I got recently. Really like their sound. '78. This is, I think, Italian. But this is a reissue from 2007 on Lilith, I think. But this is Hydrus, Midnight in Space. Really, really spacey prog here. Here's Michael Garrison from '79, his debut. He's a synthesist from Oregon in the United States. This is a little bit more dreamy, spacey, jazzy, very atmospheric, a little softer than the albums that came after this one. Margalef and Cecil that did TONTO's Expanding Headband. Well, Malcolm Cecil was solo on this one with help from the other members. And this is from '69, before he did the TONTO's Expanding Headband. This is a Moog Mass. They went by the name Caldera here. This is just very beautiful and haunting at the same time, and melancholy album here. Just very eerie. Spacey, eerie, beautiful. What's playing right now is one I found in the record racks years ago, back in the late 80s. This is from '86. It's Double Fantasy, Universal Avenue. It has two guys putting out all the sounds on here. Charlie McLion and Dreamstar, drums, guitar, and synthesizers. I absolutely love this album. Very long songs, 3 per side. Heartbreaker, Universal Avenue, Endless Running, Side 2, Food for Fantasy, Lost Control, and Children of the Universe. This is on Klaus Schulze's Innovative Communications label. Great album. I mean, I could just listen to this over and over and over. Here's another one. Great guitarist. Was with Genesis, Steve Hackett, Bay of Kings. This is from '83. And his wife does the cover illustrations. And she does the calligraphy for all the text there. This is his typical sound. This is maybe a little bit different from his earlier stuff. He's getting into exploring different areas of sound. This is on Lamborghini Records. And next here, found this not too long ago. This is Peak, Ebendazer, on Klaus's Innovative Communication label. This is a '83 reissue. This group is from Australia, and this album originally came out on an Australian label that the name escapes me now, but this is from 1980. I love this album. Right in this same mold of sound that I'm showing here. Tangerine Dream, Klaus Schulze, Ashra, Double Fantasy. This one here, some of my favorite songs on it are very close to Sensations Fix and Ashra. Here's the Innovative Communication label. Now the song on here that I used on my vinyl records slideshow, the songs were Penguin and Along for the Ride. Yeah, that's they begin side 2. And next, absolute stellar classic of deep spiritual, dark. It's a little darker. Moog Electronics. Florian Fricke got his big Moog and was experimenting, and then later on he got into a brighter, more, you know, uplifting type of sound. But this is Offenstund, Popol Vuh, 1971 on Liberty. This is just beautiful. I also like his In the Gardens of Pharaoh from '72. Perhaps my two favorite albums by him. And this is an original press. I highly recommend this one if you can, you know, find a copy. This is really, this is, I think I originally heard this on Music from the Hearts of Space. Now this one here, I got from a collector. I was kind of describing, he was having one of those through the mail auctions, and he recommended this to me, so that's how I discovered it. It's Angel G. Rada, Upadesa, on Uranian Records. He's a Venezuelan synthesist. He uses an array of very primitive, kind of doctored, jimmy-rigged synthesizers because his funds were low. So they have a very raspy, raw. The sound is very raw and primitive sound, but it's nonetheless extremely beautiful and melodic. Boy, if you can get your hands on this one, yeah, this is a great one. I like the track on here, Panico a las 5 a.m. Very beautiful piece, but I mean all of it's great. And next we got Klaus Schulze. Originally I passed this up in the record bins in the early 80s, probably 81, 82, and I came back and it was gone. But all these years later, probably 20 some years later, there it was again, so I grabbed it up. This is soundtrack music to the movie, a porno film called Body Love. It's a Lasse Braun film. This is from '77. Klaus had Body Love and then Body Love Volume 2. It's on the Metronome label. And then I found a little bit cleaner original copy on Brain of Black Dance, not too far back. I love that Dali-esque. Amon, I think, is the artist that does that work. And this is on the Orange Brain. still a really cool looking label there. Not the original green brain, but yeah, now Black Dance is probably one of my least favorite of Klaus's earlier output. I do like it, but it just falls to the back of the pack of my favorites on that one. And then lastly for this installment, Picture Music from '73 is when this was recorded, but it was released in '75. But yeah, I love that artwork. Isn't that incredible? Man. Now the song on here that's my favorite is Totem. That is a classic. I just never get tired of that one. I do have this on the original green brain, but this is a cleaner copy, and this one is on the orange brain. So I think I found these in Idaho. And then one last one. Cyborg on the Cosmic Music label from '73. This is a droning, heavy, spacey, psyche, dark trip. I mean, you talk about intense. This is one unique listening experience. Just an absolute classic. Double album. Killer. Woo-hoo! Man. Space freaks will get a kick out of this one. Yeah, I was blown away when I first heard this. I thought, oh my gosh, what on earth is going through Klaus's mind? But yeah, it grew on me and I grew to love it. So yeah, what a trip. So that's it for this first installment of my space prog. So part 2 coming up next. Take care, everybody.